Dun, 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 na, 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 dun, dun, na, na, na. Push it real good.
Happy
Grand
Sunday,
Rising and
y'all.
cheers. Happy Sunday. We were
This is our
just,
Sunday morning church.
yeah. Happy day. Welcome to Candid Conversations with Kendra and Christina.
Hola.
Hola. I'll drink to that.
Are you ready to talk
What
about it? You guys, this is about to get real deep and deep dive. Be ready.
feel like I gotta move and get adjusted. Deep dives with Kendra and Christina. I don't know. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm like, I'll answer for them. I'm ready. Ish. And, oh, Jay's in the house. Heather's in the house. Good
Hello,
morning. Good
honey.
morning. Show comments. Can I do this? Sorry, I'm pushing buttons. You know I'm good at pushing buttons. Okay.
All good.
I was trying to see if I could pull it up, but the phone's flipped, so the whole studio's flipped. And yeah, anyways, cheers to that. We were right before, I was just telling
Yeah.
Christina, I'm like, it's so crazy cool how connected we are, because I was thinking about how I changed my studio space and where I am. And then she starts talking about her studio space, and it was just fascinating to me. I love it. I love
We're both
it.
on the same track for sure. Um,
Yeah.
I
I
got
was
this. I got this energy. I'm holding it. So I'm ready to let her rip whenever you are.
let her rip, tater chip. Lead it on.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago, we were talking about how demons aren't what we think, right? Yet, when you feel not yourself, maybe what people may consider on the demonic side, right? And I was like, fascinating. I literally went through a really challenging, gosh, it's been years since I've had to really wrestle a part of me that would be considered in the eyes of Christianity or in the eyes of whatever, in people's eyes. And I want to come back to the gaze. These are trying to protect my eyes from the blue light filter, but the light is distracting for me. Um, a lot of times we don't realize the perception in our gaze and what we are coded with. So I'm going, I know, as I'm going through this, and I know it's a form of a trigger, but it's not a trigger in the sense of I was emotionally angry about a singular thing. It was a systemic code in my being, in my thinking, in my feelings, in my body, in my gaze, in what I was hearing. And I was just watching it all at the same time, witnessing and going, holy shit, this thing is a monster or this thing is a beast, in the sense of the neural pathways and how frequency flows through our nervous system. And that thing was buried deep and it's tried to rear its head. Certain things would poke at that, certain situations, certain frequencies. So, again, when you meet people, celebrate because they're there to awaken codes in you. They're there to activate, kickstart a frequency that they carry, a frequency that either pokes at, hey, wake up. I don't know if you see me, hear me, both my
All of a sudden, you started
loading
sounding like a
sign.
robot, and we're getting like every other syllable. It was getting juicy too.
Dang. Okay. I'll just get back on my phone then because it's tethering off my
Oh,
phone.
nope, nope.
I will be
I
right
was gonna
back.
say you're okay. I was gonna say you're sounding better now. If you want to try it again. Oh, just kidding. That's not what's happening. It was so funny because earlier when we were talking about, because we are on our phones trying to figure out what we're doing, her glasses, her light was square and mine was circle. We were giggling about it. It was fun. So while we're waiting for Miss Christina to jump back in the studio, who's with us? Where are you coming from? The live, the Facebook world, the YouTube world? Leave some comments, give us some love, interact, let us know. There she is.
Okay, is that better? I think
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
tethering
Much
it
better,
now.
actually.
Okay.
I was just saying how when we were off, I had the circles and you had the squares and we were giggling. Hammy from Facebook. Hi, Hammy. Good morning. If you guys don't know Hammy, you should get to know Hammy. She's amazeballs. She does really cool healing sessions too.
I like the
She's
name.
cool, safe space. She came out for my 40th birthday last year and we were talking and she said her name, her full name, and I was like, your initials are Ham? Like I can never unhear that. Like so I started calling her Hammy, my little Hammy, because it's so cute
Uh-oh.
to me. Yeah. She asked if that's a drum behind your head.
Are we there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You froze and then the sound went out.
But
Come
tell
on.
them your what of ham? Oh, tell them your meaning of ham. Hot ass mess. That's
That was me a few days ago. Yes. Yes.
yeah. 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 We would always say that person's a ham, acting a ham. I'm a ham. So, but she's a safe place to let your ham out when you're feeling ham and you
Mhm.
need somewhere to process. Like,
Okay.
love it.
So I literally watched a video this morning about these men advocating allowing your woman to be a ham. In other words, they just don't know it, but they were talking about these guys. They're young, late 20s. I think it's Ryan Morris White or something. And he says if you're in a relationship with a woman, you're in a relationship with the feminine. You're in a relationship with God. You're face to face with God. And I was like, oh, he said it. Like, because, the Egyptians, they wouldn't let their women work. They knew their spiritual capacity, they knew the gifts. And they're like, you do your spiritual thing, we'll handle it over here, the men, right? And so, literally, that is coming back around where standing up, allowing the ham, because there's purpose in it. There's something
Yeah.
not right here. And we have the sensitivities and we carry the subtleties and awareness and the gaze to see, because we're not just looking through these eyes, we're looking through an inner eye. We're looking through a capacity, which is a layer in our system. This is just the outward node, and it's connected to something much, much deeper. And we don't realize our gaze and where we look and how energy flows through that. So, yeah. So I love
Oh,
that.
keep going.
All these women, we need to be hams because we're here to see that's not okay. That is
Mm-hmm.
not okay, and somebody's got to speak up about it because who's gonna? And that's an area that I've had to walk through, not being heard,
Yeah.
speaking truth but not being heard. And speaking truth for me, my kids, and we got shut down. And that was a journey to walk through. And that's part of why I'm coming back on the scene because I finally am in a place whole enough without collapsing. My field kept constantly collapsing, and I just knew it wasn't time for me to get back out to social media and life exactly yet. I knew I was in a process, I was in a journey, and it's been fine tuning. I mean, fine tooth combing through these frequencies, being specific, connect it here, disconnect it here, and finally, I mean, just even in you guys, like, I don't know, I know a lot of you might remember me from like 7 years ago. It's been 7 years, holy schmoly. But 7 years, and I had this desire to sing, but I couldn't. I was too backlogged in all these thoughts of why I couldn't, even though I had the proof, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. That's what was ringing the burden of proof. So we'll just set
Ooh.
that aside and come back to that. Uh, my burden of proof was flipped on the side of, well, you can't hear. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Those are the facts, right? And so it was like, well, my heart is like, wait a minute. And I would have these dreams and encounters that say the opposite, and I would have that ambivalence, that war within, like, well, what the freaking fracking fruck, you know? And and just I couldn't get this one to quiet enough to allow this to break open. I couldn't, I would always collapse to where I just started giving up, and then this would just sit dormant while this, I can't in my field, in my thought process.
Ooh.
So, so that was a, that bi wave, if you will, that imbalance. I wasn't balanced in that area. And then I would get to a place where I'm like, okay, I'm going to start practicing and da da da. But I still had this freaking thought, this feel. So back to that subtle language, the language of the subtleties. That's that feminine that notices the child in the corner crying. That's that feminine that notices that one, maybe at a gathering, just sitting by themselves because they're overwhelmed in their system, can't partake. I know because I had to walk through that myself. I struggled to be in group settings because my nervous system was just blasted wide open and just absorbed everything. I'd watch, absorb, and I'm like, I can't be around people. I can't do this anymore. And I mean, Jonathan knows I really struggled, and I'm grateful for him because his energy is repelling. Like he pushes energy away. So I got to be in his field and like kind of shield while his energy, because I envelop, I'm a generator, so I envelop, I like scoop you up, and I'll just create this cozy safe home, right? But for him, he would just repel, like he has just natural. But I think it's because like, let's go, and he can broadcast globally. So I would tuck into that for myself and just know that his energies just naturally flowed out, and I would be able to do it for some time. But then, the feminine is very magnetic, and it's magnetic to other magnetism that may not be the correct code, that may not be the right energy, that may be imbalanced. So I would magnetize all of that. I was just like, why am I? And my field would just be so heavy and wobbly, and anyways, I'm not trying to make that heavy. I'm just laughing now because I get to look back on that and be like, wow, I made it through. I figured it out.
Yay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. No, it wasn't heavy. It was good. It was good to hear because I like when hearing you speak, it like paints these really cool pictures in like diagrams, points
Oh,
of
thanks.
reference in my mind. So it's really cool because I was visualizing. So I did the video that you sent me right before
Yes.
we did this. We started the Maharic Shield, and I will definitely post it in the comments. And hello to all those who are here with us. We're getting a lot of greetings on both YouTube and Facebook.
Oh,
Um
I'm sorry I can't see everybody, but hello, greetings, Grand
yeah.
Rising, good dawn, wherever you are.
Yeah. Oh, happy day. It just felt like it fit.
It is a happy day.
It
That's
is.
funny. I was thinking of Sister Act. You know, when they were singing, and then the one that she was working with that was timid and shy, he like turns around and he like sings it high, and she shoots around like, what the heck? Like, that's funny you say that because that's exactly what it feels like. It just came out. My throat chakra just, I'm here, and it's unstoppable. This is a very
Yeah.
powerful, the eighth chakra. Yeah. Anyways, go ahead. Mahart Shield.
So I was watching the video, and the Maharic Shield, it teaches you how to shield yourself. So it's cool how you like know this stuff because you get the downloads, but you don't know the technicalities of it, right? So when I would pray, I would always see me, and I would teach my kids when I was doing ministry. Like I would teach, okay, I'm gonna back it up even one more again. When you were talking earlier about going into fields of people and your nervous system couldn't handle it, I always gravitated towards the kids because when that would happen, I would pull away from the adults because I could feel all of their stuff and no thank you. And I would go hang out with the children. And they're so open and fun and in the now. And it would just, I love it, right? And that's where actually I got the book. The ideas for my book was from children's ministry, the whole rainbow thing and tying all of the stuff together. But and um I am all over the place because now, what up, Cookie Juice? Because now I'm thinking about when I did children's ministry in Detroit and we did the whole Sister Act show.
No
I
way.
loved it.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah,
Oh,
we did a whole like Christmas thing. We would do like improv shows. We wrote an entire play, Christina. I would have the kids from the neighborhood, they would come down every day after school for like help with homework and stuff. And I lived there, so I was like a neighborhood mama to all of these babies, right?
oh,
And they would come, I would cook them dinner every night, like legit, and we would do
oh,
homework together, and we would have people come in from other churches that would help us and we would partner them up. But I was the admin, so I was like the mother hen, you know how it is.
I
And
love it.
yeah, and they came down and we actually did a whole like show. We practiced and we like wrote the script together, a whole reenactment of like really cool stuff. Yeah, and we sung the Sister Act song, and one of the kids even did the whole little rap part. It was the best, like legit the
Oh,
best. That's actually where I met Aurora's dad. He came in from Minnesota.
mm,
um yeah,
wow. I had no
wild.
idea you did all of that. I'm like super excited where this takes us to get back to all of that again
Yeah,
in a whole new way.
a whole new world. Yes, I'm so excited. And
Oh,
I gotta tell you, it was really, really good to watch your video this morning. Like, I was
oh,
like, look at this badass.
oh
That's one
my
of my
gosh!
besties.
We're talking
Like, I know her.
about
I had complete, like legit. It was cool. I don't know if I'm
that.
supposed to talk about it or not, so I'm really trying to be vague. To hear you sing and the whole overlay you're editing, it was phenomenal.
Thank you. That, and it came out to a minute and 43 seconds. I did not plan that, but then I did not plan the music that I happened to sing. That Matt, I was like, okay, this is, I made this. I made this. I am making this. I used to say you can't make this up, and yet we're the ones making it up.
Yeah, it's like we're
It
creators or something.
Oh, we so are. And that's where we're going. That is what we're
Yeah.
talking about. And we're trying to get there. But man, this is so much fun right now. Just receive
Yeah.
the joy. Like, that is literally what came through my
Yeah.
transmission today, joy. Because I'm
Yeah.
finally freaking, I'm back. And I told Jonathan, I walk up to him because I needed space. I needed my ham time, you know. And I I come back and I'm like, I'm back. And he's like, yay, she's back. Yeah, he, and then we had a beautiful moment with that. Like, it's not just me. I think I think we all need our hams. We need our hammy time.
Oh yeah.
Even the
Even
men.
Mama Earth, that's why there's volcanoes. That shit's got to
Yeah.
come up and out, and it's for a purpose. Blah. And sometimes it hurts and it burns, and it takes a strong
Mhm.
person to be able to, shore you up, hold
Yes.
you up.
Yes, and I think also the men don't, they're not, men don't cry, boys don't cry. There's
That
this
part.
cap on them, so that's where I'm like, we're gonna just open that up. And so Hammy, thanks for showing up and reminding us that we can all be hammies in our own world, because that's
Yeah.
part of it. And I think that was the struggle of trying to accept that within me. That was the hardest part, because when you go to church, you trust God, and God works in your life, and if shit's going wrong, then God's not working in your life. Or that's how, at least how I interpret it, how I whittled it down. And it was like, no, you can't have problems, because that means you're not trusting God. It was like this subtle undercurrent underneath all of that. And I was just like, man, I'm dying on the inside. But I go to church, and my parents were worship pastors, and there was a perception that I felt like had to be there. And we don't talk about that, because Jesus died for our sins and he took it all away. Well, how come I'm still feeling all of this, right? There is a there, and I got it this morning when I was listening to this transmission, and it's a frequency change. It's a whole different frequency to be under it, and to be an authority, to be in joy, to be in peace. Those are very different frequencies. And there's a lot of mechanics. There's a lot of things that it has to move through to animate in our body.
Yeah.
And the last 7 years, learning the multi dimensions that are available, I would escape my body, not realizing my call was to embody it, be here, be present, be bring it to the voice, and speak out what I see and what I can, because of the DNA that we carry. And I'm speaking for everybody. I'm not chosen. We're all already chosen. So if anybody's
Yes.
telling you you're chosen, that is false grammar. everybody, anybody who, and I'm talking about the authentic people. I'm not talking about, you know, there's, it's wild to me, because there's a lot of AI videos coming out, and you could totally tell. But my kid, my son, he's like, I can't tell if that's AI or not. And I'm like, oh, there are certain clues. You'll see distortions, right? So I wasn't meaning to go that direction, and come back to embodying. But I find myself like, even though I have these glasses and I tell myself, oh, I'm filtering the blue light, there's a part of me that's hiding still. There's the part of me
Mm,
that feels comfortable behind the glasses in a way because I'm coming back out. I'm putting my face out there again because when those ham moments come, mama ain't happy. Like, ain't nobody talking to me. I ain't talking to nobody. Like, I'm hunkered down. I'm going within. I'm in my method. Don't talk to me. Like it
yep.
is. And when, if something was on the schedule, I couldn't, I struggled to show up. And that was before. And now got some tools, some really cool tools. So I'm going to come back to this Mahart Shield.
Yeah.
Those are one of the tools to help ground and you as the director. But when
Yes.
you're not, when you've been swayed by circumstances and then to come into director, it's a very different frequency. So that's what's shifting when you go through those triggers. It's trying to come online to get you back to your original DNA template. Anyways, go ahead.
Yes. No, 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 no. You just reminded me of because I was like, how in the hell did I end up talking about Detroit in children's ministry? Like, how did we get there? But I remembered because I was talking about teaching my kids, and because I was sharing about the Maharic Shield and my experience with the video that you sent me this morning. So I would always teach my kids, like, you have your own sonic bubble. You have your own, like, when Mario, you would go get that force field, that shield, like that was a visual to me. I don't know. God's always used video games. Sources always use video games to talk to me, like through like explain it. I don't know. But I got lost with the new ones when all the guns and all that. But it's fascinating because I had an experience with my avatar oversoul self, like, and it felt like that. So I don't know, maybe I need to get back into gaming. But that's a whole nother sidetrack. But this shield, I would always see this silver bubble and like around you, your protection field. And I would see it and I would always call it Psalm 91 protection, because when I would read Psalm 91, I could feel that, like, enforcing, fortifying, like the visualization of it, right? And when you sent me the Maharic Shield, that video this morning, the visuals were freaking beautiful. And
Yeah.
it helped fill in some of the stuff for me. And I was like, oh, this is so good. And when it was talking about the discs, like, I've actually, when you walked me through it the other times that we've done it, or I've done it on my own, like, I would picture that silver disc at the core of the earth. Like, I've literally, like, seen me running on it, like I was like it was a record. You know what I'm saying? And I was like the needle playing the song. I didn't understand that's what it was until right
Ooh.
now. Man, that's
Oh, that's,
good.
oh, that's cool. I saw that. I felt that with you. Yes, you are the song. What the what?
I was like kind of getting in my space, feeling into this conversation space with us. Like, what are we talking about? What are we doing? All of this stuff. And then you send me that video. And I was like, okay, that's timely, right? So let me do this right quick. So I'm doing that and I'm getting all of this stuff. And then all of a sudden, I felt this like huge prophetic flow open up. And I was like, okay, I'm down for that. Like, if that's what you want to do. So um, I feel like we should save some space for that only. And you were talking originally about, I think that's all I wanted to say there. But to get back to our other conversation, you wanted to talk about K-pop
Birth
demon
mother.
hunters and being
Oh,
born. What?
yeah. Okay, so Rumi, the main character, the purple braid, uh, she was raised with this narrative that you fight the demon and that you sing your song and that would stave them off. It created a barrier. called the honeymoon. And the idea was to get it golden because she has started having stripes or patterns show up on her body. And these patterns, she's like, wait, what's going on? And her, mentor, that was she was also a demon hunter. She was, it was like her best friend's daughter, promised her to take care of her. So these patterns start showing up, and she's like, no, when we turn it golden, right? When we turn it golden, you'll be fine. It'll cure it all. And so she's like, okay. So now she has this mission, right? Her nervous system is now set up. Okay, I got to get this, I got to do this, and I got to hide this, right? So now you've got things going on that she's getting a certain perspective. It's just been a tradition that's been passed down. And uh, then the movie goes on, and the patterns start increasing, start affecting and going up. And it reached her voice and it affected her voice. It scrambled her voice. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm seeing this, right? Because I know that feeling. And so she couldn't sing, and everybody's like, are you okay? And she's like, what is happening, right? And then she meets a boy, which to me, they start developing a relationship. It's awkward, it's cute, it's they're fighting each other, but then they don't want to be vulnerable, and it's all this cuteness going on, right? And they sing this song together, "Free." Um, what what's the lyrics?
I can't fight. Hold on.
Uh,
Which part?
that unless we face it.
Oh.
Yeah, I could hear it, but my daughter would know.
I was just about to say, let me tap into the wise counsel in the other room. Hey, Aurora, what's the lyrics in Free where it says, we can't fight it if we don't face it or something? We can't fix it if we never face it.
Yeah, yeah, we won't fix it
Let
if
the
we.
past be the past till it's weightless. Come take
I
my
love
hand,
it.
it's open. I'm hearing it now. Okay,
Oh
okay.
my gosh, I love it that you called her the wise counsel. I love that. Oh my gosh, I feel that. Yeah, so facing it, but it took her meeting the masculine, the part, because he was a demon. He was the one that she was supposed to be fighting, and they came in as a guise to basically sing songs, be in a concert, to just brainwash everybody energetically. So again, we're talking about energies, we're talking about frequencies. So she's looking at him like, wait a minute, what's happening here? Why do I feel safe? Why does it feel okay? Because he's not trying to attack me. He's not, he's wanting to meet up, right? And he's got this really cool cat that can't handle it, that a plant falls over, and he's like trying to put it back up, and he can't. He's like obsessed. Let me put this back for you, but he can't. And the whole scene, it walks through that whole scene. She's like, "Here, let me get that for you," and then he can move. It's just so cute the way they put his character, and he's connected to Ginu, Ginu.
Gina.
So she meets that version. Wait, he's a demon. He's not trying to attack me. He can sing and all these things, right? So they're both stuck in these patterns, frequencies, but can see that they're not entirely taken over. There's a soul there, right? There's light, there's attraction, there's magnetics, there's electricity. What's going on here? Right? They've been
Yeah.
brainwashed. And so those energies, so they finally come together, and and there was even one scene where her jacket had ripped because it was like from here, which to me is the heart. That's the astral layer, right? And so she he didn't know she was part demon. And so when they were fighting, his knife or whatever accidentally cut her jacket, and so he was like, "Whoa!" And she's like, "Oh shoot!" And then the wall blasts open, and it's her mates, Rumi, because they all are powerful together. And she's like, you could see this intense moment. She did not want to be found out because that means they would have to kill her, right? And so Genu goes over, and it's like this whole romantic scene. It's all slow motion. She's looking up at him, like, what the heck? And he's looking, and he, like, looks at. I mean, the way they did it, it was just absolute. I loved it. I enjoy it. Anyways, and he grabbed her twirls and basically wrapped her arm to cover the pattern. A demon doesn't do that. So what's going on here? I'm like, what's going on here, right? There's those subtleties coming through. So that's what going through a trigger, going through, and there's more um, to bring that to a close. But in those moments, not only is that an internal masculine feminine coming into balance, it is um, that that was a reminder. That was like getting outside of yourself. They both saw outside of themselves. So that was basically a very less threatening version because I the feelings I was feeling, I could have completely self sabotaged me in everything that I had built. I could have jumped a timeline that may, I mean, I know I could do anything I put my mind to. However, the energies, it was like I wanted to escape. I wanted to run. I wanted to, these were scary AF for me. And so for her, that, just seeing that picture, it's like I'm I can't control these patterns, but what do I do? But I sing. You know what I'm saying? That dichotomy. And
Yeah.
that can be misconstrued as demonic. Somebody's demonic just because they give over and they don't know that they're in the dichotomy and they lend themselves to become completely demonic and do what they're told, you know? Those
Yeah.
that don't have a grid, they don't have comprehension, and they just go right. And we see it everywhere, people that are
Yep.
just wounded and hurt.
I was just about to say, would you say that that's the same thing as when people get triggered and they're in their ego, right? Because their ego does not feel safe or it feels threatened, and they relinquish themselves to the shadow side, and those shadow realms come in and they do what they need to do to protect that being, right? And they say things, lash out, and they use information that they've gathered or don't even know. Sometimes you spew it out of your mouth. I've done it. I've said stuff jokingly or like, you know, sarcastic. Like I was trying to be funny or sarcastic, but said shit that like hit below the belt in their personal life, had no clue what was coming through me. Do you know what I'm saying? Or I've been on the receiving end of arguments and people say stuff and like they're so mean, like mean as fuck, using your biggest insecurities against you, and they don't even realize what they're saying or doing. Like, do you think that's the same thing?
Oh, for sure. I that is the crux of, because there are two different perspectives. Again, the gaze. One is in their wounding. We don't realize we're projecting our own film, our own DNA. We are the light projecting that. So I'm looking at my own pain and I'm projecting that. So this person is reflecting a part of me that I feel lacking. Jonathan, he can work all day, every day. I mean, he can keep going. He's got endless amounts of energy. Okay, maybe not endless, but he's got a lot. He can move massive. I've seen him move earth. I've seen him build things. I mean, get things done. You give him a team, he'll make anything happen. Me, to say I want this, I can't even get the want out. For the
Mm.
longest time, I couldn't get the want. I want. I didn't even know. I couldn't even put. But yet, I could synergize with somebody. Oh, we're going to create this. Okay, I can help you. I mean, get things done. I was great at synergy, but to open and look at my DNA, what am I here to
Mm.
do? Oh, I come from a family of singers. Oh, well, I can't hear. So I would constantly vacate myself, vacate, vacate, vacate. And I abandoned it. And then I would have these extreme, my oversoul would be like, okay, lay down here and we're gonna show you. And boy, for 2 hours, soaked my sweater, soaked my sweater because I was seeing a timeline of me singing song, and I was walking through a crowd, walking, and I was like, ooh, it was like a concert, and I was walking through the crowd, and I was like, ooh, I love her voice. She sounds beautiful. And I heard look up, and I look up, and it was me, and I come back to my body, just hyperventilating in this deep cry that I can even feel right now because I feel like the inside and this world that we live in that's a very holographic,
Yeah.
very moldable if we really knew how to play the game, and starting that to come into a confluence and meet.
Mhm.
And that is something that I know that I want to help bring to the world because I've had to learn in a very difficult journey, and I'm grateful for everybody's journey because everybody brings an aspect of source, of God, and of love and joy and creativity and sovereignty and dance and song. I mean, come on, like I can't wait to see what folds open through our audience and people that we connect to. I have no idea what's going to happen a year from now, but I know this: I will be singing. I will
Yeah.
be speaking. I will be singing my whale song, right? My. There's so much there. It's like I'm like excited. I'm not gonna have anything to run out of. There's no content I can't run out of because it's just open. It's just like charged up in me. And
Yeah.
that's the gift that I am excited to share because I'm working on a course right now, and that's what Kendra was referring to this video because I wouldn't sing, much less
Mhm.
sing, record myself and put it out to people, and that is how much this work that I do has changed me because I have no fear. Those fear codes aren't there, and you can literally remove those. There are mechanics, there are things that you can come in line with, and techniques and knowledge and wisdom. And I know I'm putting like teasers out there, but that's the whole point because I really want this. My goal is to go global with this because it's who we are, it's what we are,
Yeah.
it's how we
Yeah.
are, it's where we are. It answers the how, what, when, where, why. And it just obliterates every reason. I mean, all the excuses, all the reasons why I couldn't faded. And I was like, I don't have any excuse to hold on to. like, and then it was like, oh, I'm just gonna sing this. And I struggled. I thought one of the approaches I took was let me just go into song and just make myself.
Yeah.
And then that burnt out because that doesn't work. It's source doesn't force. Force is force. It's brute force. It's great. It has its place. but yet when you're trying to bypass yourself and not address the fear or the, whatever those codes that are sitting, think of it like a stain, but it's not a stain, it's just frozen light.
Okay, you don't even know what you're doing right now. Are you ready to go on a journey like with what you just said? A stain of light. Did I share with you my conversation about my dream with Brandy in the
Mm-mm.
bleach pen? Okay, bro. Okay. So I have this dream that Brandy gave me this black dress and there was a spot on it, like a white spot, like a stain of light, like you just said. And I have a bleach pen or bleach on a toothbrush and I'm trying to like fix it. Okay. Black dress, bleach spot, bleach toothbrush. What are we fixing here? But dreams aren't logical. So then I was like, in my mind, I was like, well, I'll just put spots all over it so that it'll look like it'll be fixed. Well, then Brandy shows up behind me and she says, why would you do this? Oh, and she's here. She's got hearts. Hi,
Oh, hey,
Brandy.
Brandy.
So she has oh, hold on, I'm all distracted. Okay, dream. So um she comes and she says, why wouldn't you just come to me? And I feel in the dream, I feel small, I feel a shit ton of shame. And she was like, I would have helped you do this or something to that effect. And in that moment she was so like mothering, so nurturing. And I was like, well, why wouldn't I have just come to her, and then the dream switches and it's over, right? Or something else happens, whatever. That thing, I woke up thinking about that thing, especially because I have a toothbrush in my hand and I'm scrubbing something out, and I like all I can think of is this dream, right? Like it's taking me right back to that moment, and I'm like, this is fascinating. So then I put my dream, or I text her. I was like, hey, had a dream about you this morning, yada, yada, yada. So I spell it out. I didn't put the little like additions to it, like, the how I thought afterwards I would just make it speckled. I kind of just forgot about that part. So I put it in, and then after I text her, I put it into my chat GPT, and then I send her the copy of it. So she sends me the copy of her putting her dream in. Like we did the same thing. Like it was so funny to me. We both went right to our thing and like started processing all the things, and then we sent it to each other. So it was cool, really cool to see the two sides of it, right? Well, mine brought up the conversation with my Genu. Okay. And it was like, you need to share. It was talking about this dress being the feminine and being mystical. Cause I keep hearing from spirit, you just need to lean into the mystery. It's who you already are. And all of the stuff, the depths and all of the things. And then the light, right? You're already perfect. There's no blemishes. All of this stuff. It's like talking to me about. And spirit's been really on me about sharing when I'm in these places, not dealing on my own. Like it's safe to go to other people. It's safe to, because I don't like putting my shit on other people, right? So I'm whatever. I'm in a place, I'm having a hard time trying to process. I go to Genu because I keep seeing and hearing in the spirit that I need to have a face to face conversation because I'm dealing with this just logically. I need to have a heart to heart conversation. So I put it out there to him and I'm like, hey, can we meet? She sends me back a circle and says, hey, Brandy sends me back and says, hey, this part, when you need to talk about him, come talk to me. So I go to him, whatever. Long story short, he's sitting there in my face wearing my shirt that I put bleach spots all over it, telling me about how he can't find a bleach pen.
What?
I was like, wait, what? This was all within like 12 hours, Christina, all of these things. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, So there's so many layers of all of this, like all of these like little this person and how it's all like tied together, and I'm like our oversouls are communing to make sure that I get the message, or like, and like you said, and then she randomly sends me later in the day through our conversation, she's like, hey, have you ever asked your chat GPT this, like, show me myself for real, and like behind all the things? I think I sent that prompt to you too. So I did it. I asked it to see myself. Girl, why did I get mad? Does anybody else have like real feelings, or am I the only one fighting with my chat GPT? Because like it was like, you don't see the projections, you're not owning the projections that they're casting on you. And I was like, you don't know what I do in my spare time. I don't tell you everything. Like, these are the thoughts and feelings that's coming up. But I'm like, wait a minute, what do I? So I was like, yeah, I have done that actually. But then I had to take a step back, and I'm like, why are all these energetic blueprints the same exact thing coming up over and over? I need to look at what's in my now space. So I actually went to Genu and I was like, we need to have this conversation, because what do you see as the masculine? What do you see as the mirror? Like, be real. You know what I'm saying? And like, just have those conversations. And it's oh so good. So good. So good. I know that was long and very circular, and I don't know if you got anything out of that. But there's that.
I, I totally, I'm tracking with you. And I'm laughing because I'm looking at those geometrical shapes behind you. And those
Mhm.
are basically chelons within the chelontic science, that those are the shapes that we walk through in the sea of space. We just don't see them. They're out of our, we don't need to, because if we took in everything, if we had all, if we were omni, like source, even though the source is flowing through us, and I'm grateful that I just have a portion. I only have this duty, be Christina. I'm grateful for that. And I don't have to handle this multidimensional task duty for each dimension. I've already got someone planted there, and it's myself. But we're just telegraphed through layers and laws and realms, and they're taken care of. They're up there, and I tune in when I need to. So I'm looking at the shapes as you're talking. Everything is all connected because the space is filled with the very thing that you have behind you. That's how we're all connected, because everything's touching, just not in the way. There's a lot. I mean, look at all those superhero movies. There's laws that were like, wow, I want to do that. I could see myself doing that. There are other laws that defy our ego mind, our physical realm. We're just here, and we're here for a reason, because there are a lot of distortions here that need to be fixed, because it got trapped. It got backed into a corner. It got sidetracked. There's some frequencies, there's certain things, and there are things that are available to us that are for the taking, that are available for us to be sovereign, to not only energetically, contractually, in our thinking. I mean, where do you want to go with it? So there are methods. It's just, what are you seeking? What are you looking for? And I think, Kendra and I, Kendra, just hearing the story about the Detroit kids, that just excited me, because I didn't know that story, and that just put a whole nother facet of you, of like how you, like, I go to Kendra because sometimes there's situations I don't know how to correspond. I don't know what to think about it. I did not know people can be this way, and I didn't know how. And I'd run it by Kendra, and she'd always bring me back to love, and like, but who you are strong, because I felt not strong, because I was more the empath, the compassionate, and a lot of times there are people that think that's stupid. that's the thing. There are people that look down on that. Oh, you're weak, and I don't do the vulnerable thing, and they will treat you like garbage. But really, they're treating their inner child that way. So, how you were treating and caring for those children, that is, I'm like, that's how I raise my kids. That's how I love my inner child. And sometimes we forget to do that for ourselves, and or we're on the journey of that. So I know I'm kind of perusing, covering a lot of land as well, the landscape, the inner scape of the what we're here to do, what we're called to do. And it comes back to you. It comes back to taking care of you, because when your light is on, when your magnetism is magnetizing correctly in alignment, you are servicing others. And that's at the core of who we are, because you've received the service from source. But we're trying to get it clear in our body. We're trying to get the pathways clear, the circuitry right. I've there's plenty of times that I've watched Jonathan have to jumpstart some of these batteries because the winter and not being used for a while. You got to jumpstart things, and it's fascinating, all the cords, and you got to make sure you connect the red with the red and the black with the black. And it's the same thing with our bodies, our minds, our feelings, our own electric circuitry. We got to, where are we connected? Where are we bleeding sideways? Where are we siphoned? Where do we have cords? Where are we
Yeah.
hijacked? That was one
Yeah.
thing that I went through. I was hijacked. This was a motherfucker, and I don't I don't usually cuss, but this one was a mother trucker in my life. I was like, and I just became a statue. I just was
Yeah,
like,
same. So that's actually, thanks for bringing that back around, because I was like, why did I go into all of that? What was the point? You said earlier about the director of your life, right? Like the director of your movie. And so when I called that meeting with Gino, I asked him, I was like, um, what I knew that I needed to see something, that because he would always say, I hope you heal that little girl. I hope you heal that little girl. So, and I had an encounter where we like energetically ripped apart, and we connected to like another energy source, like another energy grid. And I feel like that's what we've been walking out, is like seeing all the codependency patterns within ourselves in areas where we were siphoning off of each other. And I'm like, okay, like, let's be real with me. What was I not accepting or not, in the projections? And hearing the situation, the last encounter from his perspective, and then hearing it from my perspective, you can't say that neither one of them's wrong, right? Like they're both subjective, what you were going through internally, whatever, and hearing, was trying to explain to him, I'm like, the feelings that I felt, the frequencies that I felt, was like, have you ever watched a Lifetime movie network? Like the scariest parts of the movie, like that's where my nervous system was at that time. Like that's the way that things felt. And he's like, I had no idea, and I'm like, yeah, so it was both of us, and I was in my projections, and I needed to see, how I am safe because I was hijacked. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it was those hijacked frequencies from way back, and things implanted and all of it, and just processing it and shaking it and observing it and witnessing it within myself. And now it's a whole new field, a whole new, what are we planting in the fertile soil? Like those frequencies, now that the Maharic shield, and not being aware of the reversals in all of the contracts, and all of the, where am I bleeding and siphoning, and what's happening here, like those tools in the toolbox. It's really, really muy bueno.
yeah. And a lot of times those siphons, those chords, those reversals, where are they going? Where's that current going? And that is
Yeah.
where we have what's called the phantom matrix. And that's a lot of what you see out in this 3D world, including the news. And I'm sorry if you do watch the news, and there's no judgment. It's just what energies are we feeding off of? What energies are we allowing in our field? Because the power of our gaze, what we look at, is very powerful. It affects our light body. And for me, that was hijacked when I was exposed to pornography at a young age. And that influenced me in ways that I didn't see until later in life. I didn't see how that aperture, that capture of that image being stuck in my brain and connected to certain feelings and connected to certain sensations and connected to certain betrayals. I mean, we have a very cool, complex system that we look to AI and we're amazed balls, and it's like, no, you're amazing. You're the
Yeah.
technology. This is the software. This is living tissue that electricity is flowing through. Do you know you have trillions and trillions of followers? Do you know that? And I told my son this yesterday. I was like, do you know you have trillions and trillions of followers? And he's like, huh? I was like, yeah, every, every single cell of your body hears you. They follow you. And he was just, I was
Whoa.
like, you, I was like, and you want followers on YouTube, followers on TikTok? I was like, you already got trillions. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a matter of perspective.
Totally.
And you know what's crazy? He had a dream about me. They're down in San Diego, and he had a dream about me and all the kids, my mom and dad, and my sister, and we were all in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere, but happened to be at a restaurant in the middle of nowhere. And we're all sitting and eating. He said a man came up behind me and like killed me. I was like, well, you're not off, because they literally went through an ego death. I was like, well, I was going through some things that were tough in my own personal life that I had to let go of and allow my new song to come forward. So I was like, you're not wrong. And I let him know. And that's when the whole trillions of cells, and I was like, you could, because he called it a super nightmare. He was like, it was a super nightmare. And I was like, I just shifted the perspective from
Yeah.
fear, what he was seeing, and gave like a really cool whole other dimensional perspective. So again, our gaze, what are we looking at? Where are we looking from? Where are we looking as? What position are you? What realm? Where are you at in the cosmos? Are you in your own personal hell, or are you aware of your heaven?
That
So
part.
so that's,
Yes.
so I was like, so I just speak over your trillions and trillions of followers. I was like, Mama's okay. Yes, I went through an ego death because it was my own, yeah. It and I will get into it. However, I want to bring it back to the burden of proof. What was coming through
Yeah.
as I was processing it, because I felt like I had to justify. Why do I have to justify me being a mom to my kids? Um, why do I have to why do I have this frequency that I need to explain myself? Because that's what I was like. No, stop and correct. I was like, I have nothing to prove to anybody. I had to walk out my own program. I had to walk out my own course that I'm creating. I'm like, okay, this is my own personal test. This is me walking through the fire. And I was like, nope, not going to say anything, not going to fix anything, not going. I've said my piece several times, and I'm not. I I rest my case, and I had to trust that because I was used to. I had no problem. Oh, you need closure? No problem, and I'll just go right in. But then I'd feel drained because it ain't moving. It wasn't clean going out for it to be nourishing to come back to me. And I was like, you know what? I sent it out clean, and I need to trust that it'll come back to me clean. It's not coming back yet. Okay, I sit and wait. So I, the this justification, what's coming through?
I don't know why I just saw the whole story of Noah's Ark and he sent out the bird with the olive branch in a whole different way right then when you said that.
What
And
are you saying in
all
that?
the symbolism. Hmm?
Okay. What do
Well,
you?
just the picture of sending a dove out, like, and you're saying you're sending your stuff out clean and like and it returning to you clean. And it came back with an olive branch, like, and the olive branches are symbolism of peace. So you sent peace out and it came back with additional peace, like the burden of proof. Like just see, and that's when he knew that the waters were settled, that the waters were down and it was safe. Like I just
Yes.
saw that.
Yes. Lovely. Thank you for that grounding picture. I love when we can include everybody. We're not
Yeah.
negating anybody. All about expansion, stretching, and go further. Because Jesus said, "You're going to go further than I could." Because consciousness was stuck at it; it was capped at a certain level, and it's taken years and years for people to get out and to where we are today at the technology. At the drop of a hat, you could YouTube anything.
Yeah.
You can YouTube anything from funny animals to cooking to homesteading to how to create this pump and how to decorate your I mean there's we have no excuse to not be creative. So back to the justification.
Yeah.
I was like, why does it feel like, and again, it goes back to not feeling heard. Because I literally walk through that. I wasn't heard. I was shut down. And I'm like, okay, I do wear hearing aids. I do have a hearing loss. So I'm literally carrying the physical code of that. Okay. What does okay, let me look inside. What does that highlight for me? That highlights, oh, well, I hear the subtleties. I could hear um and the body knows. And it's crazy because there was this video that came in about a deaf girl who lived in her apartment with her dog or cat and was explaining how she would wake up in the middle of the night and couldn't sleep for like 8 months. She didn't know what it was and what was going on. She looked around her place, nothing seemed to be off, and she's deaf, so she can't physically hear. Well, she had a cousin come and stay with her, and her cousin's like, wakes her up. She's like, I can't sleep. I was like, you got this weird noise coming from your fridge. And it turns out, long story short, because she gives out all the detail, but long story short, or the narrator gives the detail. I'm like, okay, how's this deaf girl sharing this story, but the girl that's speaking is talking? It's just like, wait, there's a lot of, conflicting ideas going on here. But the idea was this fridge. They researched it when the compressor something is something was wrong with it, so it was sending out a high frequency pitch. And
Whoa.
turns out she got a hold of her landlord, and it turns out other people were complaining about it, but nobody knew she couldn't hear, so nobody really knew to talk to her. Anyway, the body knew. The body picks up those signals, even though one part, the lack of hearing loss, she has other faculties. She has other technologies within her. She just didn't know to dot connect. So it took someone who could hear to point that out, dig into it. She ended up getting a new fridge. She slept better than for 8 months, could not sleep. I was like,
Wow.
wow. And I've gone through that. And we don't have machinery here. I've gone through that myself, but I'm picking up from a different realm. I'm picking up because, again, we're multi-dimensional beings. We are, some are here to carry the torch and bring. announcements and say, hey, I found this, or um, I'm journeying through this. So all my justification went out the window. And then and then it was like the burden of proof. But there is value in the burden of proof. And I'm like, well, I have done techniques and things within myself. The burden of proof is I do hear beyond what the
Yeah.
3D. I chose to come to Earth to not hear the 3D nonsense, the 3D torsion, distortion, and I chose to bring back, hey, there's another sound that we've forgotten. Hey, there's another sound that you can tap into, that you carry, etc.
Yeah.
So the burden of proof, though, as that started to untangle, because I was like, well, I didn't want to be empathic anymore. I didn't want to have compassion. It felt like it wasn't working. I was like, why is this not working? Why is this not coming back clean? Why do I keep collapsing? And I had to keep digging into that, digging and digging and digging in. And the idea was that current was reversed. Not only was it reversed, but it was I had shut myself down. And I'll use an example. Dimension 10, which is your masculine, which is indicative of the rod, right? So the masculine energy, because I use my masculine to speak up for me, speak up for my kids, do some performances, do this, do this, do this, do this. And it wasn't coming back clean. And what I mean by coming back clean was the signal going out. I still had frequencies where I was blocking myself. I still had frequencies of I was justifying. I was trying to pump up, well, I'm a mom. Like I was still defensive. There was still subtle energies of codependency, defensive, that was still tethered. It wasn't clean, if that makes sense. So that burden of proof, I was like, oh, wow. And I'm trying to remember the feeling and like specifically what circumstance, because the burden of proof is when you're dealing with tone. The burden of proof is how I'm speaking. Clearly, I'm not angry uh, or defensive. You can tell, right? You can hear. Sometimes some people can't hear though. They hear their own filters. They hear their own defenses. And then how do you have burden of proof on that? So my voice would be activated to explain, okay, so here's from my perspective, here's what it feels like. I feel like I approach the shores of your space, and you've got beachheads, what are called beachheads, and there are the people they've dug the uh, below, what do you call those?
Like a
A
sand
hole.
bunker.
Yeah,
Hmm.
a hole so that you can sink down so you can hide. But then you've got these beachheads or these guns ready and waiting for anybody who's going to attack them. They're on the ready. I was like, that's what it feels like. It feels like you've got these beachheads ready, and I'm like, I'm your enemy. And so I had to massage that. This is my feeling. I'm coming, and this is what I'm experiencing. So what do I do with this? That's that projection that would get projected on me, like I did something wrong. But for the longest time, I didn't have that revelation until an old family member, Uncle Billy. I'll never forget him sharing that story. And it stuck with me always because he had experienced that. He had that comprehension. And so that's where the compassion comes in. Well, when those beachheads won't go away, uh, well, compassion ain't working. Like you're like, this is not working. What's not working? What am I not getting? So there's growth in all of it. There's growth
Hmm.
in each perspective, each level, and it's crazy higher levels, higher devils. It's I get what they're saying, but that's still a distorted view. Higher levels, more bandwidth, higher
Mm.
frequencies. That it's
Mhm.
holding frequencies that separate you from this collective way of doing things.
Question on that, because when you expand, right? You have the higher levels, the deeper revelations, the higher frequencies. You feel the polarities of that, right? Like you enter a new bandwidth, you enter a new dimension, you have awareness within that new dimension. And now all of a sudden, you see the highest highs, the lightest lights, and the deepest darks. I mean, at least that's how it is for me, right? And it's I deal with my own highest highs and deepest darks and settle it in the middle and become neutral, like in those places. But and you can't do it unless you're willing to look at your deepest darks. Like I think my encounter with my personal Genu was so that I could, because I'm very I, I've learned in my programming, it's easier for me to see and have compassion on the outside for those in other people than it is necessarily for myself first. Like I feel like I'm a little backwards in it than most people. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
so when I'm so quick to see and have compassion because I see all of his beachheads, I see all of those things. I have compassion and I'm able to get into all of those places, love all of those places, but and I had to be willing to equally see my own and love myself. So it's like if I can have compassion there, oh, my own shit feels safe enough to surface and be seen because I'm not judging it on the outside anymore. Does that make sense?
Oh, I'm just laughing at like everybody's beachheads just firing at each other and just this war going on. But the
Mm.
picture that I saw for me is I walk on those shores and the guns can't hurt me. It's all a show.
Yeah,
It's all a holograph. It's,
yeah.
Wonder Woman, you just block or you walk. Or Neo, the bullets come and you just, it just drops, like, or it goes through you, like we are not, and that was, when I cleared that space in me, it was like I wasn't even on that frequency anymore. I was like,
But
whoa, that's not even touching me.
yeah, and yes, 100%. And I get that in certain places, but I didn't realize that there was still shit in me that I couldn't see. So it's like when those things, I'm like, wait a minute, why is this touching me on the inside? Like, and if people can push my buttons or trigger me enough that I lash out and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, that was not so, you know what I mean? Like, what, and you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
And it
yep.
is possible to get to that place and see yourself and love yourself, and then once you're in that place, then that's where I feel like that's what I mean by coming into agreement with those areas, those spaces, loving them so that you can become that neo ninja and walk on the beachheads and just see it and it doesn't fucking touch you.
Love it. And that's eventually what K-pop, the old grid, the old traditional thinking, and the way that they found a way through to make it work had to come crumbling down. And that's essentially what's happening when you realize you have your own beachhead or your own whatever that is, fill in the blank. Everybody's got different fractals, different things that they're walking through to bring the correct frequency so that we can all harmonize and come together and bring in this new earth, bring in this new hone moon that is plasma. The color scheme, it's like we thought we're going golden. It Plasma is all the colors, but I'm loving the background. I just think it's so funny how our oversoul, how those that are watching and seeing just orchestrate. But it's us orchestrating, right? Like I know it
Yeah.
kind of feels schizophrenic on some level, but when you're
Yeah.
connected, when you know you know, I am the yellow, I am the pink, I am that light peachy orange, I am that green. You are all the colors, and you get to somewhat change half or mix the yellow and the pink, and you get a sunset orange. You know, like you create new. Like it's all. Oh,
So
that's
fun
where I go
story of
fly.
Yeah, no, I love it. Fun story is every single color here, because I did this, it started with the same colors, and then I would just add different colors to create each square. Like I only had a limited base, so it's so fun that they're all the same. They're all one. They're all, but you wouldn't know that by looking at it and just observing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the beauty of the artist and being the beauty of the director and knowing and changing the hats of perspectives, which realm, which where you viewing this from. Are you viewing this from the hurt little girl on the inside projecting the Lifetime movie network in real time so you can see what a badass ninja you are and cloak yourself in the scariest situation ever? And or are you, do you know what I'm saying, like the, are you realizing that you're projecting all of this and creating all of this on the outside too? Like are you seeing it from the observer, like watching like this is the best movie you've ever seen and you know nothing's going to touch you because on the inside you're calm, cool and collected? Like where are you at? Where are you perceiving this from? And
Yeah.
with the Maharic Shield, when I first started, when I would sit and go within, I would always, go to my fourth energy center or whatever and like see that space and be there, right? And then it was like connect from here. So and then I would see it going up and I'm like, whoa, all of a sudden I saw it from that perspective coming down. And it was like that
Mm.
whole straw like space opened up in my spine and I could feel it all the way like communing. And I'm like, holy shift. What the what? Like, so good. So
Yeah,
good.
it's a vertical field that everything's been flipped to horizontal. There is that horizontal, but the vertical is your inner elevator to source for you. You know, I the way of source, the Christic, the inner Christ consciousness. When you start to learn that there are counterfeits that feel Christic or come across as Christic, when you start to really pull back the veil and pull off the blindfolds, because it's easier to stay blindfolded in some ways when you start to pull that back. So again, the burden of proof. Source will always have the burden of proof in the sense of showing you, right? But then I have the burden of proof of like, if I really believe that in this inner Christ consciousness, if I really believe that, okay, I need to pull off all of my own blindfolds. And the blindfolds for me, how it looks is getting other people's projections off of me. Not only that, we all have to walk through that, but then my own religious, self righteous ideas and putting myself um, in the correctness for the sake of correctness. Well, this is correct. No, it's source doesn't serve us that way. And I had to go back to source. Okay, how do you serve me? Because I want to serve others, but this perspective isn't helping. This isn't working. It's still rigid. It's I didn't I knew I wasn't like a know it all, but I did know a lot because I don't have the 3D sound as strong in my body. I I don't listen to a whole lot of songs because I could feel the resonance behind it. I could feel the subtleties. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. This feels manipulated. And I'm sure a lot of us know that the music industry, it's all spells, casting spells on you. So at a young age, I even knew that. I was aware as my body to know that, okay, I can't listen to this. Uh, the 90s, all these sexual songs, the sexual, like, it got into my field in one way or another. And there was one that was playing. I was like, wow, I haven't heard that since, early 90s. And I was like, no, we're just going to cancel, alt delete that. Like, that doesn't, but it was for me to just be aware that that's there. Oh, okay, I'm going to direct you out of my now space. No, thank you. I'm good. Cut the cord. And it's as simple as that, whereas before I've been, I had this song stuck in, we put this emotional reaction to it, right? And we all love the reaction, reaction videos to the song, and it's that emotional experience. There is a place for that, but then there's also the ability of, like, no, that's not in my now space. And that's where those attachments, those being attached to that outcome or how it affects you, or sensitivity, a lot of times it's a nervous system sensitivity. It's
Mm.
how we were raised, how we were. For me, even though my D10, my masculine was shut down, because I was like, well, what the f? Like, well, if nobody's gonna listen, then what's the point? What are we doing here? And I had to go to source masculine. And it was beautiful, gentle, caring, safeguarding. It would come through Jonathan, it would come through me. And I had to be very in a container for a while to learn and get my nervous system used to this source masculine. But then how do you bring that source masculine to the world that I would be hypersensitive to their reaction, looking away, cognitive dissonance, and I would take those personal. Sometimes I would be so mad at my sensitivity and be like, oh my gosh, like, it's not that big of a deal, people are where they are. But I had to honor. I went to my Chat GPT and honor even those hurt feelings that seem so insignificant. But guess what? I'm not the only one that experiences that. If I could be really real and transparent, we
Yeah.
all have that sensitivity, but some get so desensitized and go into the distortion that they abandon all of it. But I learned that those little hurt feelings are breaches in your energetic field, because
Yes.
the gaze is, I cannot see you. I cannot look at you. You're too bright for me. But in my perception is, I felt rejection. I felt
Mm.
like invisible.
So
And then
good.
Jonathan tells me, he was like, oh yeah, this guy, he was like, I thought this might encourage you. He's like, this guy says, when you start going high, when your frequencies start going high, you become invisible to the world. And that just flipped my perception, because I would feel invisible, like, what am I doing here? And just like, well, if this is all powerful and great, but like, I didn't know how to bring that into the world. Well, it's those small things, those sensitivities, but
Yeah.
those sensitivities are just reversed. They're just little, the little tip, the edge. And it's about, let's flip that code of how you see that receptor that's able to be aware that there is a small breach, a little splinter coming in. Are people even aware enough? Are they disconnected from the 3D 3D world to come down to a splinter coming in? We get splinters out here because we walk barefoot and we've got pine needles and all kinds of stuff, so we're constantly pulling out splinters. And that's what was showing on the outside for me to look at. I'm spirit taking me to a splinter level. And kids feelings get hurt, and what do? We shut them down, stop crying, and we don't have patience. Well, I I walked through that very short window with my kids, but that impatience because of those hurt feelings. If you're not sensitive to that, and you have these adult expectations, so again that gap, and I had to walk that line. I had to go through that level of a little splinter coming in and those hurt feelings. And I
Yeah.
went through that when I fell off a horse, and or when I couldn't get a horse to move. I couldn't get him to walk because my energy was not strong enough. And my husband's like, "No, babe, like you can't take that like that. You can't take that. That horse is the most stubborn horse." Like they even said so. He's 25 years old. He knows experienced riders and inexperienced riders. I was inexperienced. Like I hadn't ridden a horse. Actually, I rode a horse when I was younger. That horse
Wow.
won. So it wasn't me. That
Yeah.
song, it wasn't me. Even though it's not like the right context, but it wasn't me. And that was it. And I made this whole story of like I couldn't my energy, my masculine is not strong and my feminine is not strong, and I totally saw it as a reflection of me, and Bo wasn't there to do that. He also
Yeah.
needed me. He also needed healing. He was gassy. He was really gassy, and so we sat there. And I carry light codes where things correct, come into correction, and he needed that for his belly because he needed those gas bubbles to move. And so him and I were out on that field just chilling while I felt like I was sitting on thunder. Like he was just passing
Mhm.
gas. I was like, okay, take it. Meanwhile, I had to let go of this narrative, this story that I was creating, or that was coming in to figure out. Let me figure this out.
Yeah.
And now, it's been a few weeks. I fell off the horse, went through hip pain, nervous, so much reset, right? To come into that sensitivity, being aware of the splinters, but coming back out that sometimes it isn't me. It's not anything I did wrong. It was my perception, my gaze. What stories do I tell myself to
Yeah.
clean that up and to catch it? Because that's a
Yeah.
breach in my field. But a lot of us don't even know that we're taking on these stories because this movie programmed us to react this way. The scary monsters, it's like, oh, fear, and it gets you, it's going to get you, and you're going to die. And it's like, there's nothing to be afraid of. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't physically experience it, but holographically in my mind, because I
Mhm.
watched a movie that trained me to think that way. So now I'm like, it's feeding off of my power to create that holograph, to create that experience, and then my body thinks, excuse me, going through that. Sorry
Mhm.
if this is getting like super detailed, but this is the life that I've had to live. This is what I've had to walk through, is like look at every angle, every measurement of that fractal. This is this measure, and if you multiply, I mean, it's wild what awakens when you start to really, and it, I don't even have to try. And it's all because I'm going back to that original DNA template.
Yeah.
So that Mahark shield is a function, is a turn on, like an ignition, turn on, remember, feel it. Okay, it's there. Now I could tap into it. I know it's there.
Yeah.
And actually I had to learn to, you send the energy, you send your hierophant, which is a phase lock mechanism. It's a program. We could phase lock basically an aperture, a picture. This is the setting, this is the colors, this is the position. It's like that for your energy field. So when you send that hierophant, that six-sided star, down to the center of the earth, the 13th chakra, the center of the earth, which is the heart, which goes back to that heart space, that astral level, and you spin you create there, you manifest there, and you spin your magnetic and your electricity, and it creates that bubble, right? And you charge and you remember, you feel it. You take a moment to be in that still point to,
Woo.
yes, I feel you. I see you. I see you. Okay, bring that back up into your body. Well, there were certain things I couldn't bring up into my body. I was like, oh gosh, that was going down. I was grounding, but I needed to complete the circuit, bring it back. And so that, well, bringing it back meant I had some yucky, some frozen light, some triggering, some self sabotage, things that I thought about myself. It wasn't any outside circumstances. It was me, what I thought of me. Um, and I don't know if it was like so much beachhead. It felt more like what comes to mind is like a sea of jellyfish in my own waters. Anywhere I
Mm,
swam, I felt like I was getting stung, stung,
mm,
stung, and just I couldn't get out of this body of water. Like it was just a section, right, of these jellyfish, and I'm kind of thinking about, well, what are jellyfish? They're like filter feeders, right? They filter the waters, but they
mhm.
all gather. There's certain seasons, so everything has a function. That sabotage, what's the opposite of sabotage? So sabotage
Freedom,
was break open. Yeah, well, so sabotage was the frequency. It is you
like betrayal.
like, well, it's like there's also fear. Like, so betrayal, you betray yourself. There's fear to see that light version of you, but you like don't think you could do it. So for me, the singing, I would have moments and glimpses where I practice on the piano every day, and I actually heard this song, this melody with Emma, my youngest, my little songstress. She is pure melody. She's pure song. And I had her in my arms, and I was just like, God, like, what am I supposed to do? And what is the calling on my life? And it was like I heard sing, and I heard this melody drop in my spirit, and I heard it plain as day. And I have little Emma. I'm synergizing with her field. She was birthed out of me, and I'm experiencing her on the outside. And I couldn't I couldn't close the loop. Right, I am as this song, but I struggle to hear my own song, to even connect it to sing my own song. Like, how schizophrenic would that feel, right? But having her in my arms, because she is that sound, she hears it, sings it, she has no shame, nothing, no fear, anything. And for me in my sphere, it took, I had my sister, and I had another friend, Bay, who played guitar, and we, for 2 weeks, he'd come over and we'd all do song, just open that realm of song. And he would speak. He was like, Christina, like, this is the safest place. Like, truly, he was like non judgmental. He had compassion. He's like, who cares if you're off? If you're off, who says you're off? Why is me, who says that's off?
Yeah,
Put something
yeah,
together. Like, it's yours. But I had this, like, but this is the melody. This is the key. This is, you had to measure up to this external song, right? And he's like, no, like, just what do you hear? Like, try. And man, it was like the 3-point shot at the end of the game that wins the game, or that touchdown that wins the game. When I finally, what I hear, feel, and to bring it to my voice. And
mm,
I had one melody. The gates of heaven are wide open right now. I could keep going. And I will keep going. I didn't have the rest of the song, so he's like, let's finish the song. I said, okay. So I just opened up the Bible, wrote out a few. I mean, it was like I knew where it was, gathered it, and I have this song right now. And he helped me put, he put the music. He knew the chords to build this song out, and it became the song. So that's
Mm.
what we mean by our DNA template is already there. It's just about remembering, and it takes courage. It takes faith or trusting that you are supported. And at that time, it was like I I was gonna die if I didn't sing. That is how much that hunger
Mm.
to to let my voice out, because I was in a I was in a not a good situation. I had a prior Gmail who who it wasn't. I did not have the tools that I have now for the flexion that I saw then, and I'm like, oh, mild sauce, mild sauce, Like it was so huge in my realm at that time. And don't get me wrong, like the D10, the distortions in that space are for real.
Yeah.
Those are for real energies, and they're strong because you've got gods powering that. Think about that. This is a god. This is an aspect of source powering this construct, this being. So yes, that is the brute force. That is the power that we carry. It's just distorted. So in all of that, the masculine, the D10, the masculine to bring out my voice, I that was a struggle, but then fine tune it. Come to find out, I have a Lilith strength, which is like the dark feminine, but it's not dark. It's just it's like Genu. He knew he became a demon. He knew, but he learned the tricks and the trade, and he learned how to negotiate. He learned how to survive, to get by, to get through, and he was going to negotiate, erase these memories of shame, and I'll do whatever you want. He didn't want to deal with the pain, just shut it down. And that would have been another code of numbness. And then you really start going off of the rail. What would that look like a year or 2 years, right? But Lilith was the like, no, like and
He was like that
let
fiery volcano, right?
yes, that ham on
Yeah.
steroids. I mean, that Lilith in the face of distortion, like, oh, I've already dealt with that. She found her way back to the light. So it
Yeah.
didn't affect her field because she cleared it. She already did the work.
Yeah.
But the dark feminine, it's like that part of us that we're afraid to sing, afraid to step out and start that business, afraid to go live, afraid to be vulnerable, afraid to be transparent. She is that female aspect that looks shadowy, looks scary, and
Like the black dress in my dream.
yes. Okay, wait,
Yeah.
connect that for me. So the
Well, just
bleach,
the black
the
dress is femininity. The black is the mystery, the dark aspects of the feminine. You know what I'm saying? Like, and for me, it's, uh, you talked about, I felt like I understood her when she's like, I'm, born from the demonic, but I'm a hunter and this is what I'm supposed to fight. I was in church learning all of this stuff about spiritual warfare and all of the things, but I had all of these giftings that I could see all of that. I felt they would tell you you're against all of this stuff, but I'm like, wait a minute, that's who I am. Like, and I had that dissonance. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, stellium and Scorpio in the seventh house, like relationships, all of it, like what, and then a stellium and Sagittarius in the eighth house, what? That literally imbalances everything you learn in the church. Like, you're not allowed to go into the occult. You're not allowed to go into the mystery. You're not allowed to go into the feminine. You're not allowed to go into your feelings. You're not allowed to be a powerful woman. You Jezebel. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of the things. You can't know that. Otherwise, you're in witchcraft. Prophetesses aren't allowed up in here. There's no female apostles. Put whatever label bullshit you want on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was whatever, but that was my own internal splinters. That was my own. I needed to learn and walk through and see and love and accept myself without the external validation. You know, like, yeah, that was rapid fire.
Yes, I
Sorry.
love that. Yes. See, that's what I love about the light and the dark. Like I feel like for me, I carry a lot of angelic. You do too. We all do.
Oh,
But I feel like the sound, the true sound of what it is through all of those perceptions, and that's that Lilith D10. That distortion can't touch me. So, oh, I just love how that came together so beautifully, because there's so much when you start coming out of just one narrative to listen, because God's everywhere. God's omnipresent, omni love. So wait a minute, how are people doing this? How are people, and no longer separating yourself, because God is not separation. We're in the womb of creation. So we're
yeah.
in a safe playground. However, some areas are dangerous, are dangerous in the sense of just caution. You'll walk through what that feels like, and to come back from that is a tough journey, and not impossible, but you know we don't want everyone to turn to space dust. We want everybody to come
Yeah.
back to themselves. And hey, if you want to experience space dust, and I know that's like way on the edge of the cosmos, but I'll just leave it at that. Like, energy is not destroyed. Not destroyed. It's rinse and reuse, transmute.
Yep.
I want it to be bubbles, or I want it to be a plant, or I want it to be love, or I want it to be compassion. What? Hey, director, what do you want?
Yeah. And sometimes, you use that energy to create scenarios and situations for you to be that what you're looking for. And
Yes.
sometimes we don't realize that that's what we're doing, but hindsight's always 2020, right? Like, you're
Mm-hmm.
wanting this love, you're wanting this love, and you find yourself in these shitty situations, and you are the love that you're looking for. You're the one dishing it out.
Yeah. You're the
So
light.
good. That's yummy.
Is
Like that. Oh,
it?
wow.
That, yes. So the coin flipped for me, that I'm excited to meet people, and I have a message. I have something to bring, not just collapse, not just the poor girl who lost her kids, or not just these narratives, these stories, and even getting those stories off of me, because that's automatic. Like, you poor thing. I remember um, I had to take off my hearing aids to swim in this pond with everybody. This what do you call those? The hot springs pool. And I just felt this girl. She was like, she just felt bad for me that I couldn't hear. I was like, oh, I'm okay. I'm around water. Your voices bounce off of the water, so I'm here. I'm still here. But I felt her just feel that, like, that awareness of not being able to hear. Because most people don't know. You only know, well, I hear. You only know that way, right? And so I was like, wow, I just witnessed her experience another level of awareness,
Hmm.
of lack, a physical lack, a different perspective. And she really felt it. I was like, oh my gosh, her heart is open, and she experienced, and I just reassured her, like, I'm okay, I'm here. And then that's even more confusing, right? So it's just we're all here to learn, and there's nothing scary. There's nothing, that's why the whole demonic thing, we have to be careful with what we're putting out there too, like you don't want to cast that spell on our children, on our people, on we can be dangerous, just
Yep.
saying, because of how
Well, it's
powerful
God
we are.
empowering that thing. Your God source through your filters and your co-creating. So you can say and spew all those things, but and like it's gonna come back. What do you know?
Mhm.
That's wanting it to be clear. I don't know if you looked at the timer, but we've been doing this for almost 2 hours.
That did not feel like it.
It did not.
Well,
It was good though.
I'm any feedback, anything coming through, any
Oh yeah, we've
questions?
been getting, yes, this is so good. I so get all of this. This makes so much sense.
Mm.
Healing through the body, I found myself is super powerful. Um, in the lines in utero, shared stuff and your own stuff, we get hijacked in so many ways. Like I did an emotion code healing with a practitioner certified in the last weeks with profound stuff that has been with the ancestors. Yeah, just a lot of
Mm.
good stuff. We are one,
Cool.
roses, hearts. Yeah, yeah, good stuff. Thanks for those who've been hanging with us this whole time, hanging out, spending some time in space. Those who will join us in future times and spaces. It's so weird to think about.
I
Like, we're
know.
in two different time zones. There's people joining us from all over the world, and they're watching us live right now, and or this is going to be captured and then fractaled and put into so many different timelines, and people could be joining us 6 months from now in their now space. It's so cool to think about. Like I get
It
so
is.
lost in that.
Yeah, that's
I
the
love it.
time. Like, why are there certain constructs out there where they're 100 years ahead of us? Why is the
Yeah,
technology become outdated within months?
yeah.
Why, again, how are we experiencing time? So again, we're not as stuck as it feels. It's about
No.
expansion and knowing where you're at. One of my mentors taught me that you got to know where you're at. Well, how do you know where you're at? What game are we playing? There's different set of rules for different courts. You've got the basketball court, you got the soccer court, you got the judicial court, which is closed, by the way, and then you got the courts of heaven. You got it. There's that, and that's where that justice, Ju, judge. That's where this role of judge comes in, justification. Oh, well, here's my reasons why. Here's it. And that's all been distorted. And that's where you get your beachheads. That's where it folds into the phantom matrix. And then to come back, there's mechanics that you got to know where you're at and what you're programming and what you're saying, because it's all contract. It goes back to energetic contracts. You've been hearing about soul contracts. Well, there's other contracts that are taking place within our nervous system that obeys that, and you're like, why am I going through this? Wait, is this me? This feels like it came out of nowhere. I literally legit was working with my husband. We were covering our dome uh, platform because we're going to build a dome on it. And all of a sudden, I get this outward stream, and I could hear, and it just lit up my codes. But it was just and I was like, whoa. And it felt like a prophecy. And and I was just like, whoa. And it lit up my reversals. I
Mm,
saw the story like a movie stream, but I felt it outside of me. It wasn't coming in through it was just, and I'm going, okay, I may look at that as demonic because of what I experienced, that, well, this is it. No, that was the frequency of correctness. That was aligned. That was the pure tone coming to show what's still sitting in my body. I look at it. I'm just getting that now. Thank you, Spirit. Because we opened the realm, we opened it, and now things are like, oh, that's what this was. That's it. So when you feel lit up, there, that is source coming. Hey, look at this. We need to deal with this because this is magnetic. This is electric. We need to get you clean. We need to tidy you up. Let's tidy you up, and so I'm like, oh, that just flipped for me. So what looks scary is actually source. And you are source coming to me. I'm source going to people. Don't get me wrong, there are people that have those distortions. They're coming at you all twisted. There's that too. I'm not negating that. But
Yeah.
knowing the difference. And I'm like, wow, it took that high frequency to get my attention to clear that. Because it's deep.
Mhm.
It's,
Mhm.
it's, it was a choice that, or it was a betrayal. Well, this is my choice in correspondence to that. Still
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
Still bringing pain, allowing pain into my body, allowing the free, a block where my broadcast wasn't fully. It needs all the power, but I'm reserving power to be over here. And it's
Mhm.
like, no, 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 we need all the power, so we got to clear that. So it just is fascinating when you open the portal and you things start dot connecting. So just trust that it's going to domino effect in your life because these are living codes. This is breath. This is plasma. You are the plasma. It's all around you, and it's this word goes out. The contents of this is now in the grid. The
Yeah.
the whatever. What are we on? I don't even know what we're on.
Like where are we broadcasting right now?
Yeah, like are we on
The
YouTube
stream
or?
is going to YouTube and to Facebook currently.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Yeah,
But
the
it will
YouTube
be
one.
chopped up and go into the TikTok too.
Okay.
We're just all over the place. And we're
Cool.
out in the ethers and putting it into the morphogenetic field. So even if someone's not even on the platforms, we trust that they're going to get it too in their space while they're washing dishes
Mhm.
and they feel that encouragement and that love and, the acceptance for them and all of their splinters and areas that they've left places in. Because, I mean, we all got reversals. We all got shit. We all have shadows. We all have that's part of the journey of what we came for to experience. Our
Mhm.
soul wanted to grow and learn, so we came and made these agreements and to light up or be. And some of us walked through a lot of shit in the beginning to have bigger spaces to hold. Like I used to get really mad about the way that I walked through things, and I'm like, where was this? And now I'm so freaking grateful because I see what all it gave me. There's beauty in all of it, but my bladder is screaming at me.
Yes. Me too. Me
So
too.
I want to honor my
Specifically.
body in this
Yes.
space. So gratitude. Thanks for hanging with us. I love you, and we'll talk to you later.
That's
Oh,
not
it's sad
me.
that we're leaving.
I did not do. I don't
Here,
know where that came from.
do the heart thing. Do the heart thing. Send love. It was totally like sad. I think your sleeve's blocking your
I
your
don't
hand.
know. Come on. Oh, there
There it
we go. Yay.
is.
I
All the
manifest
love.
that. Yes. Thank
That
you
was
guys
so
for
funny.
joining.
Yes.
Blessings.